All right. Hello, everyone. I believe we're live now. I think I'm in a signal or in an area rather, with much better signal now than last week. So hopefully everything will go smoothly. I'm currently in Arizona, right on the state line between California and Arizona. So, happy Thanksgiving to all of you here in America. I know that you Canadians, if anyone's out there, had it earlier this month. And if you're not in America, I suppose you don't have this holiday to celebrate, but it's my favorite holiday, so I'm excited about it tomorrow. And so tonight's topic, and we'll also do some intermittent fasting Q&A after the topic, is all about dealing with overwhelm. And I felt like this would be a good topic because during the holidays it is very easy to get overwhelmed. And just to give you an introduction, who am I? I'm Kayla Cox. I am the founder of this here channel. I have lost over 80 pounds fasting, specifically OMAD, eating whatever I want, one meal a day. I walk 6 miles every day. So that's a little bit about me. We do have a Facebook group, and my husband is in here moderating comments. So if you see 6 Miles to Supper commenting, that's my husband, JR, and he'll post the link to the Facebook group. It's a great place full of encouraging people, no diet dogma, just, we're all supporting each other on our journeys. So let's see, what else? Thank you for all of you who have bought my book and also who have reviewed it. That has been so helpful to get other people who maybe haven't seen the YouTube videos. They kind of get an introduction to me through the review. So thank you very much for all of you who have taken the time to do that. I appreciate it. Thank you, Hyatt, for those warm wishes. Let's see. So let's talk a little bit about overwhelm. So during the holidays, a lot of times there's so much to do, and especially if you also add weight loss to the mix or fear of weight gain to the mix, it can be very overwhelming. And so, what I do during this time, just for me personally, I take a very laid back approach to my whole eating plan. Every year I pretty much, especially after Thanksgiving, pretty much I'm just, I will take days off as needed, if it's a family thing or if we have, like a party to go to and it doesn't quite line up with OMAD. I simply take the day off, or at least I take that meal. I will go ahead and eat that meal at the thing. And I do the best I can, and I simply try to not stress about it. And I realize I know how to lose weight. If I gain some during the holidays, I know how to get it off with OMAD and with walking. So once you've learned how to lose the weight and realize, okay, I know how to do this, that can give you a lot of peace. But I know if you're just starting out with this, it can still be overwhelming. So let's talk a little bit about overwhelm. So the first thing I would say is if you're feeling overwhelmed, because the holidays are a time where a lot of us are, not only do we feel like a sense of like obligation to a lot of different things usually, there's also usually kind of a financial crunch because, some people do a lot of, like a really big Christmas, and then there's travel on top of that. So it can be a stressful time. And plus, if you've lost anyone around the holidays, that can be an emotional time. So if you're an emotional eater, then it can really start to feel overwhelming. So one thing that I would suggest, and this is something that I really have a hard time following through with, but when I do it, I feel so much better, and that's to let myself cry. And I was looking it up because I'd heard this before, and I thought, I wonder if that's true. But it is true. When you cry, it releases hormones through your tears. So your tears actually shed stress hormones. So if you go ahead and let yourself have a good cry, then it actually can make you feel a lot better. It can actually put your body in a much better state. You can end up feeling happy afterwards. I actually just recently had that happen where I was just kind of having a very rough day, and when I finally just let myself cry, I felt so much better. The thing is, it's kind of hard to cry in front of people, or you might think, oh, well, I don't want to appear weak, and certainly I know, like at work and stuff, you don't want to do that in front of your coworkers. You don't want to make it awkward. But if you're having a trouble finding a time to cry, just like watch a sad movie. And then that way you can like just sit there and cry, and everybody's like, oh, that's normal, like It's a Wonderful Life. That's one that I can just sit there and I ugly cry through the whole thing. But so just let yourself cry. Let yourself have that moment to kind of get it all out. Another thing to do, I think, that's very helpful, especially when it comes to weight loss, is to just sit down and write down what's bothering you. What are you specifically, like, what's going through your head? Because a lot of times we kind of have this, or I do at least, this general sense of overwhelm, and I'm really not sure what's bothering me. I just feel overwhelmed. But I've found if I just like write it all out, and this is like stream of consciousness stuff, this is not like good, well structured writing or anything. It's just like write down everything that's bothering you. That's cathartic to me. And also it helps me to really see what's bothering me. And then I can actually take action on it once you actually put words to it. Some people find talking it out with someone is helpful. But if you're an introvert, a lot of times it's easier to just write it down. It's a lot harder for us to express verbally what is like the problem, and just it's just easier to write it out. So so that would be another thing I would say. And then also noticing what kind of personality you have. Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Especially during the holidays, it can be pretty taxing, I would say, for introverts, because we don't really enjoy, or at least a lot of us find large gatherings of people to be really draining. It's not that we don't love people. We love people, but the big crowds are draining. It's like when you leave there, you're exhausted. And during the holidays, it can be day after day after day of that. And so you have to pay attention to that, and then give yourself some grace, and say, like, you don't have to go to everything. You can just say, like those friends that are inviting us to that party, we can go hang out with them some other time, and make time for them, but you don't have to say yes to everything. And that's another thing, boundaries. Boundaries is something I'm still working on, okay? But I've gotten a lot better. There's a great book called Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud and I think his name is John Townsend. And it is, it's written from a Christian perspective, so just know that going in, like, that there's scripture and stuff in there, but the book itself, I think even if you're not a Christian, you could get a lot out of it. But basically, it's all about how to say no to people, and how to do it in a way that is nice, but it puts boundaries around your relationships with people. And during the holidays, a lot of times we don't have those boundaries. We kind of just like let everybody else kind of set our schedule, and it can, and especially with the budget, that can get taxing too, because if you're tight on money, but then you kind of feel obligated to do all these things, you're saying yes to everybody, and then you're having to buy gifts for every little thing. It's better to learn how to say no to those things. There's a great quote from there, and I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget this one, and it's stuck in my head, and I read that book years ago, but it's that an internal no nullifies an external yes. So in other words, if in your heart of hearts somebody asks you to do something, and you in your heart say, no, I don't want to do that, but you say yes, it's like you're lying to them. So don't do that. Just say no. And you're much better off just to have that one little awkward moment of, they ask you to do something, you say no, then you're done with it. Whereas if you just say yes, then you're going to end up resenting it, and it's much worse to be resentful. So just kind of give yourself permission to say no to those things you don't want to do, and say yes to those things you do want to do. And let's see, the last thing that I want to talk about really quickly was I saw this TED Talk today, and I had never seen it before, but I found it so interesting. And it was talking about how stress is actually not a bad thing. It's basically when we worry about stress, and that's what causes all these bad health effects. The actual stress is not bad for us. The increased heart rate, the different things that we're like, oh, this has got to be so bad for me, actually can work in our favor. It's only when people worry about the stress that it really causes these bad effects. So, and that's something I struggle with a lot. I tend to have a lot of stressful things in my life. And then, especially because if you're getting out of your comfort zone, like this YouTube channel is an example, writing a book, that's another example, coaching, that's an example of putting myself outside my comfort zone. It's very stressful. And instead of just, like being like, oh, I got to eliminate the stress, I've realized now it's actually okay to feel stressed. Don't worry about the stress. So I'll be working on that. So, okay. So let's see. Let's see if there are any questions, because a lot of people have been, and feel free to add in, your experiences with, saying no, how to put up boundaries in a nice way for people. Maybe something very nice and clever that you say like, I think so many of us are afraid to say no, afraid that it's just going to really hurt people's feelings. Hey, Enid, and hey, Hyatt, and Veggie Lovers. Nice to see you guys. Hey, Darlene. So good to see you. Happy Thanksgiving. Hey, Kate. And UD Visla. Happy Thanksgiving to you, too. Enid, why don't you get invited to anything right now? I'm just curious. You seem like such a lovely person. Darlene, I agree. Situations with large groups of people really drain me and stress me out. And I think, another excellent book. If you've never read Quiet by Susan Cain, that book changed my life. I kind of always knew I was an introvert, but reading that book, it was like someone gets it. And I want to give that book to everybody who, if you're an extrovert or if you're an introvert, extroverts need to read it so that they can understand the introverts in their lives. Because for so long I would stress out and I would feel like such a bad person because I didn't like being in big groups of people. I felt like, am I a bad person because I would really rather be at home right now reading a book, like not in this, party or whatever. And I would even feel like a bad Christian also, which is a whole other ball of wax. There's a lot that's geared towards extroverts in our society. Even the way churches are set up a lot of times are very great for extroverts, but introverts, it can be very uncomfortable. So just some things. Let's see, after 17 years vegan, you would think I would be used to the raised eyebrows. I would imagine that can be kind of stressful, being vegan, and then, when you go to the family gatherings and everything. Let's see, Enid, too much stress exacerbates your anxiety. I'm so sorry that your best friend passed away. I'm so sorry. That's horrible. But, you've got your kids and your husband around you. So, that's what we're doing this year is, it's just going to be my husband and my kids and for Thanksgiving. And that's the first time that's happened in a long time. Like when my husband was in the Marine Corps, we had a couple of Thanksgivings when we were in California, and all our family was on the East Coast. But this time we did, we're on the West Coast again, and so we won't be near extended family. And but I think it's gonna be really nice. Like, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. I'm really going to enjoy it. And actually, it fits better with my personality to be in a small group of people. I love my family. But I would rather have, like a meal with like just my parents and then like just my sibling or one of my siblings and, like that. I just like having deep conversations with people. And I feel like in big groups, it's hard to have like deep, thoughtful conversations, or it seems that way. But Enid, I hope you have a good Thanksgiving. Nana. Oh, hey, Nana. I'm so glad. It's so rare to see you on these lives, so I'm glad that you're here. Enid, and your dog's going to be there. So, yeah. So, always look on the positive side. Yeah. So that's something, too. Like, when you're doing OMAD, and then you're also being a vegan, I can only imagine that really... I guess you're getting comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. Like, that's something, spotlight syndrome, right? We think so many people are paying attention to every little thing. Like, I remember I would stress myself out so much at family gatherings because I would think, oh, they're going to ask this, that, or the other about like how are things going with certain things, and I would just feel really, really stressed going into it. Like nothing had even happened yet, and I just had all of these fears and stress about what like this big spotlight was going to be on me. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, nobody even asked me those questions that I thought they were going to be asking. And usually when they did, it was, a very surface level answer. They don't delve into it either. Like, most of the time, people want to talk about themselves. And so when you remember that, like, when you really start, if you've ever noticed this, like, the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, that was a book that really taught me this. Like, most people really want to talk about themselves, so all you have to do is just just ask questions to people, like, about themselves, and they'll sit there and talk about themselves all night long, and then you don't even have to answer questions about yourself. So it's a little tip there. But yeah, Enid, you usually shut down in big groups. Like, I think what I prefer to do is, like, go find, like, a corner somewhere and have, like, one conversation with somebody, especially another introvert, because that really, like, they usually understand that dynamic, right? And that can work, but then other times you kind of have to be out, or at least, like, in family things, I always felt like, there was a lot of times where I kind of had to be, sitting at the table, and so then you're around a lot of people, and again, love my family, but it can be, like, a stressful feeling. And I would notice myself eating a lot more too, because, gosh, it was just like, pop something in your mouth as soon as there's, like, an awkward silence that you don't want to say anything. Somebody makes kind of a comment or something, you just, like, in order to not talk, I would pop something in my mouth. And that's not healthy. So I started realizing that about myself, and so I would just, like, excuse myself and go to the bathroom, even if I didn't really have to go, just go. And because nobody says you have to go to the bathroom. Like, if you just go into the bathroom and take a break, totally acceptable, right? Or just go outside, or try to find a little quiet corner. It can be kind of hard if you have a really big family, though. So let's see, Darlene, you're having Thanksgiving with my kids and your sister and brother-in-law and his parents. That sounds like fun. I mean, that sounds like maybe not too large, but not too small either. Enid, you're a vegetarian for 25 long baconless years. See, now I don't do, well, I do turkey bacon, but I love steak, though. I can't imagine being a vegan or a vegetarian. Well, it's like so much of what I love in as far as food goes is, like, cheese, meat, eggs. I love those things. And so, but some people really have a lot of, like, health benefits. I have some nieces who, they're vegan, and they really have said that it's helped a lot of their digestive things. So but it is funny how there are a lot of people who have been a vegetarian and then go back to eating meat. So Clarissa, this is a great topic, especially this week. I have 2 gatherings this week, and I'm feeling a little anxious. Yeah. And again, I would encourage you, if it's something that you do really, you want to go, and you feel like, like, okay, this is something I need to do, like, there's this phrase, like, don't should all over yourself, which is kind of off color, like, it's kind of like a play on words, but really, there is a thing where when you feel like you should do something, like, oh, I should go, there's that. It's, again, kind of a boundaries thing. You're letting other people kind of dictate your actions, and it's better to just do those things that you really want to do, and be enthusiastic. But I know there are certain things, like going to certain family things, you probably really should. Yeah, like, I think you want to be able to see those people. That is important to me. But then also saying no sometimes to things if it's going to make you more miserable. But Clarissa, I hope you have a good time when you go. Darlene, when it comes to my friends, I have a hard time telling them no. I feel guilty. So something I still struggle with. Because, again, I'm an introvert, and it can be very, very difficult for extroverts to understand introverts. They really don't. It's like, even if you literally tell them specifically, here is how I feel, it's like it does not compute a lot of times. Like, it's like so foreign. Like, the concept is so foreign. Like, what do you mean being in a big group doesn't, like, energize you? it can be very difficult, and which is another reason, like, I really recommend that book. If you just tell that, like, read this book and you'll understand me. but I do understand, like, feeling guilty, but you can also compromise sometimes. Like, that is something we would sometimes say, okay, like, one big family thing a month. That we felt like was a good compromise. We can't do it every single week, because then, like, we take one day off a week, which is Sunday. And so if every single Sunday there's a big family gathering, I'm going to feel exhausted, because that's my one day off, and my husband's an introvert too, so it's like his one day off. And if you do that over time, it gets very exhausting and you feel very resentful. So again, like, if you just say, this is for the good of our relationship, like, we can do one thing a month, but otherwise, we're a no. And saying no, and this is, it kind of goes back to weight loss too. If you can learn how to say no to people, like, if you can learn how to set up those boundaries with food, with people, you're empowered. You're not letting food dictate, your weight, or like how much you're eating or anything. You are in control of that, and you say no. Like, like when you feel full and you say, no, I'm not going to eat anymore, or I'm fasting right now, so that cookie that's on the table is a no. And you get stronger every time you say no. And that's why being consistent is so important, because it's like this practice. If you can just practice being consistent every single day with fasting, you just build up this self-discipline over time, and it's empowering. Like, an example would be, we made these turkey cupcakes, really cute. Like, they're made out of, like, they're chocolate cupcakes, and they've got parts of Kit Kats as the tail feathers, and they've got like a little mini Reese's peanut butter cup as the face, and we made those last night. Now, when I was overweight and before I did intermittent fasting, I'm telling you right now, I would have eaten cupcakes all day long, just a bite here, a bite there. I would just, I would have no boundaries with that food. But intermittent fasting has made it where I didn't touch the cupcakes all day long. They were sitting out on the counter. I didn't even feel remotely like, oh, it's really, really hard right now. It's like, nope, I'm not doing that right now. It's like a muscle. And I've worked that fasting muscle so much now that it is easy. And that comes with time. It comes with consistency over time. You get to that point where it's like, it's very easy to say no. Boundaries with food. And then boundaries with people. Again, it gets easier as you go, especially when you realize, like, I feel not resentful right now. Like, and I always felt really bad when I would feel resentful. Like, you say yes, then you feel resentful, then you feel really bad because you're feeling resentful, and it's like, am I a bad person because I'm not enjoying this? But, just learning how to say no, I tell you, it's so hard, but so important. Let's see, that's so true. People want to ignore what makes them uncomfortable. That is so true. Yeah, it's very hard to deal with that. But okay, Enid, never ever again. You've been omnivore for 3 years now. Oh, oh no, oh, a plumbing problem. Plumbing's the worst. When we first moved into our house, it was like, I think it was like the second weekend we were there. Like, the the plumbing was like backing up into our shower, and it was horrendous. And we spent hours and hours out in the hot Florida sun with our arms up the clean out pipe, and we eventually got it fixed. We're do-it-ourselfers, so like, we were, doing, looking up things on YouTube, but so I feel you. I totally remember. And we've actually been dealing with plumbing ourselves, with our RV. Like, our water pump was leaking, so our floor was wet, and so then we had to replace the pump, and then the pump, we had to fix it because it was vibrating and everything. So we eventually got it fixed, is the point. But so it messed up. Let's see. Oh yeah, your OMAD went sideways. Well, look, it's one day, no big deal. Okay, like, don't even let it be a thing in your mind. Oh, Thanksgiving is canceled. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, and your husband's grandma died? Oh, Enid, man, you've had a day, or it sounds like a month, really. And that's just, it sucks. I mean, that's just, it just sucks. And I'm sorry. And I know that it makes it even more stressful, right? Because it's like, right now, during Thanksgiving. So, man alive. Oh, goodness. And so, let's see, you had to stop the dishwasher. Oh, man. Wash dishes in the bathtub. Oh, man. So, well, look, but you'll figure out something, like, and even if you say forget it and you go to Denny's or just stay at home and just have a frozen pizza or something, the main thing is enjoying your family, being thankful for what you got, right? I know. I mean, just, say some days are like that and just go for it and just try to make the best of it. I'm really sorry that you're having that timing. And Nana, I feel like I'm an introvert and an extrovert. It depends on who I'm around and where I am. I either shrink or bloom. Situation will decide how uncomfortable or comfortable I am. That's a very interesting point, Nana. In the book, she mentions that there is a thing. I can't remember if it's an extroverted introvert or an introverted extrovert, but it's one of the two. And in that book, she does have like a quiz that will show you what you are. But I was a strong introvert. But that is interesting. And I can think of one person in my mind right now where I'm thinking she's kind of like you. It's like it kind of depends on the situation. Hey Christina, I'm so glad you made it. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Yeah, pumps ain't cheap. No, this one was $110, but which to me is not cheap. but but it's installed now, and I'm thankful that we've got it. So, yes, and that's a good point. That is such a good point. Buy a pre-cooked turkey. Like a lot of the grocery stores have them, and just drink a lot of wine. Well, I don't know, certainly don't, to excess, but I love a good glass of wine. So, my sister has a winery, so, oh, you don't have, oh, well, look, I say you can do something though. You can just go out to eat, go grab Chinese food, like do like on, Christmas Story where they just go get Chinese at the thing because the dogs ate the turkey or whatever, and just make the best of it and be thankful for what you do have. Be thankful you've got indoor plumbing. Like that is something that is, if you can just sit there and just start counting your blessings, right? Like I'm grateful that we even have plumbing to mess up and all that. It is so key. And it's something that we try to instill in our kids too, and in ourselves. Like, what I think that actually happened to us when we were trying to fix the plumbing and we were having that leak, and then I think Jay said, "But I'm thankful that we have indoor plumbing," and all these things, right? And just go over that list, and if you start doing that, then I think it'll brighten your day. I mean, and I know I can understand. I think a little bit about like what you were talking about, like if you're feeling depressed, because that is a thing. It's very hard if you I mean, and I don't think ever been truly depressed, but I have had down moments, and it's very hard. You can't just snap out of it sometimes, but if you start focusing on the good things that you got, it can at least kind of help. Melissa, who else is up cooking like now? I actually we made pumpkin pies earlier, and I'm gonna try my turkey in the Instapot tomorrow, so we'll see. I don't know how it's gonna work out, but ours is gonna be relatively small. Like we've been we're gonna kind of like make an extended Thanksgiving, because we knew like there's only my husband and me and our 3 kids. So if we made like the full blown Thanksgiving dinner that we would normally have, it'd be way too much food. And we have like this. I don't know if you've ever seen an RV refrigerator, but it's like tiny. Think like hotel sized refrigerator. I think that gets you pretty close to the size. So we've been making the best of it. So what we did was tonight I made, yesterday we made the turkey cupcakes, and then tonight I made pumpkin pies for tomorrow. And we made this rice casserole that I love, and I made it in the Instapot. And then tomorrow I'm planning on making like mac and cheese and stuff. And then later on, I'm going to make like green bean casserole and things like that instead of trying to do everything tomorrow. But we're just making the best of it. Yeah, Darlene, I feel bad for people who have to work on Thanksgiving too. That is, I don't know that I've ever had to actually work on Thanksgiving. I've had to work on Black Friday. But I mean, and I don't shop on Thanksgiving. Like, it's my favorite holiday, and I can't believe it. Like, when, like, I've had it happen where people like leave Thanksgiving dinner to go shop, and I'm just like, oh man, that kills me because I'm not much of a shopper anyway. So, and no, like if that's your thing, then go for it. But I'm just like, I just like want to enjoy Thanksgiving. Like, so many people are already like on Christmas. I'm like, Thanksgiving's my favorite. So, but yeah, but it creates this thing, I think, right, where people who, like when there is that demand there, everybody's wanting to shop on Thanksgiving Day. Well, then the stores open their doors. But if nobody was shopping, it's probably like a pipe dream. But if nobody shopped on Thanksgiving Day, then people wouldn't have their doors open. But I mean, but there are people that have to work on Thanksgiving regardless. Nurses out there, any of you out there who are nurses, I mean, there's tons of people, policemen, 911 operators, military. So thank you for all of you out there who do have to work. Hey, Michael, yeah, I agree. Thanksgiving is the best holiday. You know why? Aside from there is some cooking involved, which I enjoy, so that's probably one thing. There's no gift giving. There's no pressure to spend a lot of money on gifts and all that. It's just about being together as a family, and I love that. It's my favorite thing. Yeah, actually, yeah, I know it's hard to know that you, like, or to think that you'll look back and laugh. But well, so it might take a while. Enid, I know it's been rough for you. Just don't let it get you down. Like, just try to make yourself laugh. Try to laugh. There's another good TED Talk. I didn't tell Jay about this one before, so he probably won't have a link to it. But it was very interesting about why we laugh and how it really helps us to get through tough things. And it was a touching talk. But anyway, Enid, you might go check that one out. But yeah, just learning how to laugh through things. It's a powerful tool, I think, to get you through some rough times, but I understand what it's like when you also just do not feel like laughing. Yeah, your mom and your sister, Michael, passed away in the same year. It was tough, but you do get over it. Yeah, and it's so hard, right? During the holidays, you miss them the most, I think. But again, like allowing yourself to miss them and to even cry. And and then it makes you more grateful for the people that you do still have around you, I think. Enid, you're tough. I know you're going to get through this. Melissa, my mom's been diagnosed with ALS, and my nanny, her mother, is in a nursing home, and I'm having to see about them a lot. I'm very depressed and tired, but thankful. Oh, man, that is tough. Gosh, you guys, you're having some rough times out there. But yeah, being thankful. So yeah, and if anybody can leave in the comments like things you do if you're feeling depressed or you're feeling down, if you're having a hard time with the holidays, what are some things that really help you? Share with the group, because like we can all help each other. And that, I mean, Melissa, bless you for that, because that is rough. That is really, really rough. Okay. Let's see. WD4 kids, I'm going to miss your holiday cookies this Christmas. Let's see. Who is that? WD for kids. Walt Disney World for kids. We make these holiday cookies. I'm not sure who the screen name is, but we make these nut rolls, And usually it's like an all day thing, and we make tons of them, and we go around giving them out to people. That won't happen this year because we're in our RV. But yeah, crafty. You might need to go to the grocery store. Yeah, just real quick, pick up a little something, or work with what you got. If you can't get to the store, work with what you got. I'm sure you got some stuff on hand, and just make the best of it. I bet you can make it the best Thanksgiving ever. Yeah. Oh man, I know. In California, so dry out here. Well, technically I'm in Arizona, but I'm right over the border. But man, it is so incredibly dry. And I mean, it was kind of even scary just as we were driving through the desert, and you can just see how the brush is just like really dry, and it just seems like, man, just a single spark would just this whole place would be crazy. So the Conrads, hey Conrads, yeah, no nut rolls this year, but we can give you the recipe. But yeah, and again, the first responders and everything, they have my utmost respect. So if you or your family have anybody who's having to work or put their life on the line, you have my total thanks. So let's see, you put a Christmas movie on, make hot chocolate, turn off the phone, and curl up with your dog. That is so nice. And that is another thing, right? Like really pulling closer to the people that you love. That is super helpful, I think. I think we can, or I do, I have a tendency to, when I'm feeling down or something, I tend to kind of push everybody away. I try to be out on my own, introvert thing probably, but it can just, like the other day I was really depressed. Like, I mean, well, I wouldn't say depressed. I was just saying because it wasn't like clinical depression or anything, but I was just feeling very down, and I could not snap myself out of it. I don't know what it was, but the thing that did snap me out of it was my son, my little 6-year-old. Like now I can't even remember what he did. He just like ran, like I think he had his shirt off, and he said something funny and just ran away. And that moment, like it just, whatever it was, it just made me laugh. And that, and then also that got me to talking. And then when I talked, that's when the tears came, and then I was fine. So that's how I kind of snapped out of it. But anyway, we just watched that. Let's see, was it date night? No, it was was it my birthday? I can't remember what night it was, but we watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. My favorite. Probably one of my favorite movies of all time, I would say. Certainly my favorite Thanksgiving movie, because there's very few, very, very few actual Thanksgiving movie. Like we actually were, my husband and I were Googling that, like, what are the other Thanksgiving movies? There are very few. But yeah, oh man, and we laughed and we laughed and we laughed. It was so funny. So yes, put on a funny movie. You can get it on like Amazon Prime, or I mean it's not on Prime, but you can buy it or you can rent it. Like a lot of times it's just like $2.99, which I know if you're tight on money, then that can even be a thing. But yeah, oh man, that movie. We go around quoting it all the time too, just in our normal everyday life. So let's see, Melissa, you're going to fast till 12 tomorrow and then feast and enjoy time with your family. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you, Kayla, for this channel. Well, thank you, Melissa, for watching. And yeah, see, and that's such a good plan, right? You're going to fast till 12 and then you're going to enjoy. And I don't know really what time we'll end up eating tomorrow. It kind of depends on, like, my tiny little RV kitchen. I'm not sure how it's going to handle like all the different things I'm going to cook, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to kind of eat at a decent hour. But it's funny, somebody was talking about OMAD, like they're going to try OMAD tomorrow, and I thought, that's really the best time to, like, if you're just going to try to go straight to OMAD, do it on Thanksgiving, because everybody knows, like, Thanksgiving is a time, a lot of times, or at least I've done this before in the past, like, I'm not going to eat anything until the meal, and it's one meal in a day, and you survive, right? It's like any other time we're like, oh, you get all freaked out if you're hungry and everything, but if you just have that one big meal that you're looking forward to, you can really say, no, I'm not going to eat anything till Thanksgiving, and you unknowingly are practicing OMAD. But anyway, yeah, so I think that could actually go well for people. But uh, Michael, I'm so glad that it's making the dishes enjoyable. I was just thinking about that. The dishes can be, I think, a really therapeutic thing to do. We don't have a dishwasher now that we're living in an RV, so we have to do them by hand. And I used to think that I was allergic to dish soap because, like, back in 2014, I was experiencing this thing called dyshydrosis. So it started around my ring finger, and it was like this, like scaly patch of skin, and then it started turning into these like little blisters, and then the blisters started coming up all around my fingers, and they were just tiny little, like little blisters of like little pimply looking things, and they were very, very itchy, and I didn't know what to do, and it like went over into my other hand too. And at first I thought it was some crazy disease or something I didn't know. I researched it online, could not figure it out. Finally, somebody said, like, oh, it's probably just a soap allergy. So I cut out like all liquid soaps. I just stopped using it completely. And that seemed to help. But really what I think it was stress. At the same time, that's really when I started doing something about my weight. Well, at least I was started doing, exercise and taking some action. And so that, I can't remember why did I start talking about, but the point is, I had gotten to the point where I didn't want to touch dish soap. So I didn't do the dishes and everything. But now I can, and I really find it therapeutic. Like, they can be so dirty, right? But then when you clean it all up, it's I don't know. I love things like that where you can really tell that you've accomplished something. Like, okay, this was dirty and now it's clean. I just get something out of it, I guess. But, yeah, Darlene, you said you like to read a good book or watch a funny movie if you're feeling down. And that, like, just figuring out something that's going to make you laugh. I mean, of course, YouTube is a fantastic resource for all that. Like, or a favorite comedian. Like, I love Jim Gaffigan and Brian Regan. They can always make me laugh. Books, yeah, books are a good option too. But I know it's a very tough thing. It's certainly fresh on my mind because I did have that thing recently where it's like I couldn't just snap out of it. And that's difficult. But if you've got any questions about intermittent fasting, please let me know. Yeah, so dishwashing gloves. So are you saying, like, I'm just curious, are you talking about like it's like dish glove, like it protects your hands from the dish soap, or are you saying it's like a cloth that's like in the shape of a glove? But anyway, but the point is, I'm not allergic to dish soap. I really thought I was, but I'm not, as it turns out. I think it really was just stress. And it was actually funny because my husband had the same exact thing just happen randomly. It was right after we first started full-time RVing, and I can't even remember what the situation was. There was just something really stressful, or maybe it was just the stress of this totally new life. And it just, like, his hands just, like, all bubbled up. It was like, whoa, what in the world? But it was just stress. And then once he got rid of the stress, then he was fine. Friends makes you laugh out loud. Yeah, Psych is the show that does that for me. Oh my gosh, like, we have watched that entire series. I think we're on our, like, 5th watch through at this point, and we just love it. Like, we love to quote it, and that's something too, like, just having somebody to laugh with. And for me, that's my husband. Like, we laugh constantly, and my kids and I laugh together. I think it's really good if you can just laugh and give yourself permission to laugh. It doesn't have to be serious. Hey, Ashima. Oh, I'm glad you like the channel. If you've got any questions about intermittent fasting, let me know. Or any comments about we're trying to kind of troubleshoot if you're feeling down during the holidays, how to kind of get past that. Another thing I was going to briefly mention is like for Christmas, one thing I found a lot of times I was feeling overwhelmed because of money, because I always had that same kind of like I had this like, oh, I should give my kids a really big Christmas, and that like that was like an important thing, but several years ago we heard about the idea of giving 4 gifts each, which is something you want, something you need, something to wear, and something to read. And once we started doing that, man, our stress levels during the holidays fell up by a lot. And it was just, it took away, those expectations that you kind of put on yourself. It's like, why? Like, why am I doing this to myself? And again, it goes back to having boundaries and realizing people really aren't paying attention to what you're doing anyway. Like, I think I had all these like, oh, but people are going to think we're bad parents if we only give our kids 4 gifts, and most of the people that we tell that we're doing this with our kids, they think it's a great idea, and we've certainly seen in our kids they appreciate the things more. They don't get overwhelmed with all the stuff, because it's just these 4 things. But anyway, so let's see. Norma, you said, I just want to say that I had exactly the same thing in my hand, and it was a combination of stress and dish soap. It is not contagious. Yeah, and I wonder too, like, could it have been both? Like, could it have been like the stress like kind of made that reaction worse than what it was? Maybe I have a mild allergy to it. But yeah, it was a very interesting phenomenon that I started, that like it was like, wow, especially when it happened to my husband. Before, I just kind of thought, well, maybe I just kind of like, I don't really know what happened. Did it, by just avoiding it for a long time, did that like somehow get rid of the allergy or something? But when it happened to my husband, I was like, oh, this is just stress. Like, and I was stressed. I was stressed about my weight before, and we had also just moved to Florida, so we moved out of state. So it was a lot of things. Let's see. Just wanted to know what you are planning to maintain your weight, and would you keep doing OMAD? Okay, so I think your question is. So right now I'm in maintenance mode, because when I got down around 140-ish, I felt really good there, and I realized the only reason I would really want to continue to lose is mainly just because there's like this, I kind of felt like, well, yeah, but don't people think I should, like, it's not about me, it's more like, won't other people think I should still lose weight, or like something like that, until I get like a completely flat stomach, like what is the thing? And when I started to realize, like, what, me who has to live in the body, I'm completely happy with where I'm at, and so I'm good here, and I really don't care about losing 2 more pounds or losing 5 more pounds or anything like that. So my current plan, because I really like OMAD, and that's what I've been doing. I'm still doing OMAD. I'm still doing 6 miles a day. I'm, if it comes up and I want a snack or something, I will. So far that hasn't happened. I've gotten so used to this way of eating that like it's almost like taxing to have to go and figure out something to make during the day. So the easier thing, I think, is to eat a snack after supper. But so far that hasn't happened very much either. So so for me right now, OMAD is, I like it still, and I'm planning on continuing that for the foreseeable future. If my life were to change though, and if it made sense for me to do, say, 2 meals a day, I maybe would do 2 meals. I really can't ever see going back to 3 meals a day all the time, just because it takes up so much of my time. Like, I get annoyed with it. Like, I just prefer this way of eating. I really like being able to just wake up. I mean, I have coffee throughout the day, but other than that, like, I don't even have to think about food, deal with food until my meal. And by my meal, I'm really nice and hungry, and I really enjoy the food. And that's another thing. I enjoy really enjoying the food. Like, I was trying to explain it to my son today, like, food tastes different. Like, if you're just eating food, all day long. It's like, yeah, it's good and everything, but if you like wait to eat it, because he wanted to eat pumpkin pie. The pumpkin pies I made for Thanksgiving tomorrow, he wanted to eat one tonight, and or eat a piece. And I said, no, you're gonna enjoy it more tomorrow. Like if you make yourself wait for the pie until tomorrow, I'm telling you, you're gonna enjoy it more. So I was trying to explain that, but like, okay, but here's how I know that, because if you wait, like for your meal, it's like, oh wow, this actually tastes really good. So for me, I enjoy OMAD. Does that mean I'll do it forever and ever and ever and I'll never go back to eating 3 meals a day? That's not what it means necessarily. But for now, it's what I like. And you know, like I can imagine different things, different ways my life might pan out where it makes more sense. You know, like what if I had some sort of life where I've got a lot of business lunches or something like that? Well, then maybe I would go back to eating, like say, 2 meals a day or something, because I would still want to eat with my family. But it works for my life right now. Okay, let's see. Clarissa, I'm at a point where I want to accelerate losses. Being patient is hard. I appreciate these videos. They help me see the big picture. That is the biggest challenge. I'm telling you, like it is a recurring theme, but I'm telling you, don't get in a rush. Okay, it is the thing that derails people. If you go back and if you watch like the success stories, I think, I mean, I could be wrong, but in almost every single one, there's this recurring theme of when they finally said, I'm going to be patient with this, it's going to take a long time, and I'm just going to be really consistent, and I'm going to be really stubborn, and I'm just going to stick with it over the long term. That's when they had success. It's when you get in a hurry and you start doing unsustainable things and like, oh, I gotta hurry up and get it off. Why? Like, what's the rush? Don't rush. Don't rush. Stick with it. Be consistent. Focus on consistency. It's the key. I'm telling you. Let's see. Have you considered putting podcasts on iTunes? Enid, yes. But then, like, I don't know. Like, I've thought about doing a podcast, and I've thought about what would I want it to be about, and I don't know. Like, I don't know that I would want to do like an intermittent fasting podcast, for example. I mean, I love intermittent fasting, but I'm already doing this channel, and I've got the Facebook group, and I have a lot of other interests too. I'm a scanner, and if you've never read the book, like if you're the type of person who has tons of interests, chances are you're a scanner. And Barbara Sher wrote this great book called Refuse to Choose that I love. But anyway, the point is, if I did a podcast, it probably would be on a totally different topic. I don't know what the topic would be, and I don't have any clarity on that, but it is something I've thought about. Let's see. Vizla, I weigh once a week on Tuesdays. Last week I weighed 135, and when I weighed yesterday, I weighed 135.4, up and down, but when you see the graph, it's on a steady downward track. Yes. So that is a huge thing, is fluctuations in weight happen. Okay. It does this, you know, and I can't remember how long you've been losing or how long you've been tracking, but it sounds like you've got the exact right idea. So if anybody out there is like, wait, what do you mean it went up? That doesn't mean anything really. If you just focus on your trend over time, and that's why I weigh every day, because my weight it can go up by 5 pounds. Well, it can go up by 5 pounds overnight, but in at least 1 week out of the month, I will have a week where it's like there's, in between the highest day and the lowest day, there's at least 5 or 6 pounds there. So if I was only weighing once a week, it's really hard to tell, am I losing, am I gaining? But by weighing every day, keeping track of the 7-day average, that's helpful. And I'm going to be looking at some other numbers too, because I was looking at Fitbit, how they kind of track like in the weight. I was looking, and like you can go back to like, they do like a 1 month, a 3 month, a 1 year. And when I was looking at 3 months, I was like, oh wow. And I'm going to have to look at it with my data too and kind of compare how are they getting that number. But the 3 month is the point at which I think there were no upward spikes. So in other words, it was a constant downward stream. And I'm curious to know that, like, how much data do you really have to have before you can truly see the trend? And I think about 3 months is probably pretty accurate. Like, because your weight can fluctuate so much, it's very hard to really make sense of the numbers unless you're looking at that much data. So Darlene, food tastes better when you're hungry. It's so true. It's like, wow, beans taste so good when you're hungry. Hey, Sammy, I'm glad you're here. Let's see. Hey, Linda, your message got retracted, but I'm glad you're here. Just completed a 49.5 hour fast because I know I'm going to overdo it tomorrow. That's interesting. I've not fasted really for longer than, I don't know, 27, 28 hours, maybe a little bit longer than that, but I don't count. Like, so if I have an early supper one day and then a late supper the next, I never know. But I am planning a 5-day fast coming up here pretty soon. It may be next week. It's not for weight loss purposes, though. I had heard about this on the Tim Ferriss podcast. D'Agostino was talking about the cancer prevention effects of a 5-day fast. So it'd have nothing to do with weight loss, and I wanted to be very clear with that with anybody, and that was one reason I wanted to say, okay, I'm maintaining now, because I don't want people to think this is like, ooh, I gotta get down some weight. It's really about the cancer prevention things I've read about, which I find really fascinating, and cancer runs in my family, so I feel like doing everything I can to kind of, I know I'm not a doctor, and this is all, like, always check with your doctor before you do anything like that, but I am planning on a 5-day fast very, very soon, and I'm curious to see how it goes. I think my biggest challenge is probably going to be sleeping, because I have a very hard time sleeping on an empty stomach, but, oh, thank you, Pamelia, for getting my book, and I'm so glad that you like my videos, too, and thank you so much for those kind words. That just, it makes my day. Thank you to all of you out there who just let me know how, like, that you enjoyed the videos, or that you got something useful out of it, or anytime you want to tell me like your success, like if you want to tell me like, hey, I've lost weight. I love hearing that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Oh, and while I've got you all here, if you would like to be featured as a success story, please email me, Kayla, at 6milestosupper.com. So many people have been so kind to come forward, be interviewed, and I would love to interview a whole lot more people. I really love telling all these different stories because I love showing people there's a lot of right ways to do intermittent fasting. So many times there's like, it seems like there's this perception of like, there's only one right way, and you've got to do it this way. But that's not true. People do it all different kinds of ways, and they have good results. So, okay, let's see. Hey, Linda. Let's see. Have you discussed fitness trackers on a video? Yes, I have a Fitbit. Well, and that's really the only fitness tracker I've really talked about. And my husband can link to it. I reviewed the Fitbit Alta, and that's what I have, is the Fitbit Alta. In the past, I've had a Fitbit Flex. I don't have any experience with other kind of fitness trackers. I really like Fitbits because of the badges. I love badges. I find them highly motivating. I love the achievements, and I love the challenges you can like do within the community. Oh, okay, Pam. I will call you Pam. And so the only thing about them, they tend to be kind of expensive for what they are. You can use your phone as a pedometer, and that works. It's just annoying to have your phone with you all the time. Like, I love being able to just strap this to my wrist and go. I've heard really good things about the Fitbit, or sorry, not Fitbit, the Misfit Shine. It's a lot cheaper, and I think it's waterproof. I don't know about the community features of it. I love Fitbit, especially now because so many people are my friend on there. So there's a really good community. And I do enjoy having a tracker. Fitbit is the thing that showed me you are sedentary. Like, you may not think it, but man, you are sedentary. Like, I was getting like 1,000, maybe 1,800 steps in a normal day. And that was eye-opening. I really thought I was a more active person than what I was until I got the Fitbit. I was like, oh, okay, well, there's at least one part of the problem is I'm just sitting around all day. Okay, when there is a week or two up, I then have 2 or 3 pound loss. It's interesting. Yeah, I think that's true for a lot of people. Is, like, they'll have this little fluctuation up, then boom, it's like a whoosh, is what I've heard it called. It is very interesting. Um, Tatiana, oh, good question. Am I gonna drink coffee? I think I'm not. I really would like it to be a true water fast. The only thing is going to be the headaches are going to be really bad. So then I was thinking, okay, is it better to like take Tylenol during the fast, or would it be better to drink coffee? So that's like the only thing that I'm kind of like, because if I drink coffee, I mean, I can do black coffee. I would at least do black. I wouldn't I wouldn't put cream in my coffee. That's like the only thing that I would. Even though, I will say, if you look at like the fat no sorry, fast mimicking diet, um, uh, you're allowed some calories. So like probably technically my body would still feel like I'm in fasting mode, but I really would like to do a true water fast. But we'll see. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Oh, and it's an hour, so I need to let you guys go. Thank you so, so much um, for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enid, I'll be sure to keep my my electrolytes just like I did on when I walked those 100,000 steps. And thank you for always telling me about those. So, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed our chat. I got a lot out of it, and I hope if you are having a hard time during the holidays, just know you're not alone. Reach out to your family and your friends, and they'll help you get through it. And happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, and also go join the Facebook group if you're not a member already. Okay, see you guys later.